the contrary, on the contrary, his face split into a wide smile, and he said in a squeaky voice that made passerby stare, "Don't be worried, my dear sir, for nothing could upset me today. Rejoice, for you know who has gone at last. Even muggles like yourself should be celebrating this happy day." The old man hugged Mr. Dudley around the middle of and walked off. Mr. Dursley stood rode it to the spot. He had been hugged by a complete stranger. He also thought he had been called a muggle, whatever that was. He was rattled. He hurried into his car and set off for home, hoping he was imagining things which he had never hoped before. Because he didn't approve the imagination, he pulled in the driveway at number 4. The first thing he saw, and it didn't improve his mood, was a tabby cat he spotted that morning. It was now sitting in the garden wall. He was sure it was the same one. It had the same marking around its eyes. "Shoo," said Mr. Dudley loudly. The cat didn't move. It just gave him a stern look. Was this male cat behavior? Mr. Dudley wondered, trying to pull himself together. He let himself into the house. He was still determined not to mention anything to his wife. Mrs. Dudley had a nice, normal day. She told him over dinner about all the next door problems with her daughter and how Dudley had never learned a new word, won't. Mr. Dursley tried to act normal. When Dursley had been put to bed, he went into the living room in time to catch the last report on the evening news. His family bird, and finally, bird watchers everywhere have reported that the nation's owl have been behaving very unusual today. Although owls normally hunt at night and are hardly ever in daylight, there have been hundreds of sightings of these birds flying in every direction since sunrise. Experts are unable to explain why the owls have suddenly changed their sleeping pattern. The newscaster alone himself agreeing. Most mysterious, and how over to Jim McGriffin with the weather. Going to be any more showers of owls tonight, Jim? "Well, Ted," said the weatherman, "I don't know about that, but it's not only the owls that have been acting oddly. He was as far apart as Kent, Yorkshire, and Dudley have been phoning in to tell me that interesting. Instead of the rain I promised yesterday, they have had a downpour of shooting stars. Perhaps people have been celebrating bonfire night early. It's not until next week, folks, but I can promise a wet night tonight. Mr. Dudley sat frozen in his armchair. Shooting stars all over brilliant. Owls flying by daylight, mysterious people in clothes all over the place. And a whisper about the Potters. Mrs. Dudley came to the living room carrying 2 cups of tea. It was no good. He'd have to say something to her. He cleared his throat nervously. Petunia, dear, you haven't heard from your sister lately, have you? As she had expected, Mrs. Dudley looked shocked and angry. After all, they normally pretended she didn't have a sister. No, she said sharply. Why? Funny stuff on the news. Mrs. Dudley mumbled. Owls, shooting stars, and there were lots of funny-looking people in town today. So, snapped Mrs. Dudley. Well, I just thought maybe it was something to do with, her crowd. Mrs. Dudley sipped her tea through pursed lips. Pierced lips. Mr. Dursley wondered whether he dared tell her wife. He heard the name Potter. He declared he didn't dare. Instead, he said, as usual, as cautiously as he could, their son, he'd be about Dudley age now, won't he? I suppose so, said Mrs. Dudley stiffly. What's his name again? Howard, isn't it? Harry. Nasty. Come on, name. Nasty common name, if you ask me. Oh, yes, said Mr. Dursley. His heart skiing horribly. Yes, I quite agree. He didn't say another word on the subject as they went upstairs to bed. While Mrs. Dudley was in the bathroom, Mr. Dursley crept to the bedroom window and peered down into the front garden. The cat was still there. It was staring down Private Drive as through it were waiting for something. He was imagining things. Could all this have anything to do with the Potters?